Next morning's breakfast featured broiled tomato and mushroom, scrambled eggs, and sausages. 2 slices of wheat toast stood at attention in the toast rack, which was flanked by a saucer of plum preserves and the butter dish. Semple hoped the proper English breakfast before him was an attempt on the housekeeper's part to make up for her truculence. Semple poured coffee, stirred in the requisite sugar cubes and milk. Before he tasted the brew, something drew him to where the saucers and cups were kept. The other cups in the china set were on their hooks. All were whole, with no evidence of breakage. The saucers and the cake plates were the same. Returning to the table, Semple picked at his food. He had seen the shattered china outside the aerie, yet there was no evidence that any of the pieces had been mended. Upstairs he wrote until he heard the tray being set down. He reached the hall before the housekeeper could vanish. Miss E.B., the tall woman, pirouetted, brushing a stray wisp of auburn hair behind her left ear. "I have many tasks. I shan't keep you long. I am curious about the broken china. Nothing in the kitchen appears to have been mended. How do you explain it?" Miss E.B.'s face was without expression. "I take care for your things, but you put the pieces in your apron. Book is already 133 pages. Maybe you labor too hard." She headed downstairs, the blouse's constellations twinkling with the movement of her slender frame. There was no point in arguing over crockery, so he went back to the eyrie. Before settling down to write, he checked the manuscript's last page number. It was 133. Bloody hell. A sky call popped up. Rena's face appeared, framed by a mass of burnt orange curls, suffused with rainbow glitter. Hadn't her hair just been spiky and in altogether different colors? "Father, I hardly know how to tell you this, but your Miss E.B. does not exist." Rena launched into a dumbed-down explanation of how the Klemperer Group's considerable computing power had been dedicated to tracking down Miss E.B. in the cloud. Beyond injecting the occasional "ah" or "really," Semple didn't know what to say. "And you found nothing out about her?" "Not a scintilla. There's no proof that your housekeeper has lived on Earth. No birth certificate or passport is associated with a woman named Ezaki Bosu or Bosu Ezaki. There are no credit cards for her, no driver's license, no bank account, no retinal scan or embedded ID chip. Not so much as a library card. It's rare in the 21st century for anyone not to leave a trail of electronic breadcrumbs. Oops, I've got to go. Love you." Semple had only been typing for a few minutes when a second Skype came. "Oh, hello, Macie. I don't mean to be short, but thus far today my writing has been a dog's breakfast." Macie's personality was the more conventional of the twins. The undercurrent of French in the background indicated that she was calling from her cubicle in the literary agency in Rouen. She wore an expensive-looking summer-weight business suit, and a thick plait of shiny silver blonde hair was draped over her left shoulder. "Rena texted me right after she spoke with you. This E.B. woman concerns me. If anyone could track her down, it's my sister. What if she belongs to ISIS? Miss E.B. has her quirks, but I very much doubt she is a terrorist." "What do you mean by quirks?" "Never mind. The girls inherited Emma's trait of being like a terrier that, once something was in its jaws, worried it to death. Father, I still have holiday time. Why don't I come over?" "There is no reason for you to use your time off to play Sherlock Holmes. I've got to get back to work. Cheerio." The housekeeper's murky identity gnawed at Semple for the balance of the morning. On a hunch, he made a call on his mobile. Leaving the kitchen after lunch, he propped another note against his water glass. "This evening I am dining out. For heaven's sake, please do not prepare a meal for me." Semple left work at 6:30. He shaved for a second time that day and showered. He put on a crisp pink shirt, his suit, and a burgundy tie. Standing before the lavatory mirror, He gave himself the once-over. When last had he taken such care over his appearance? What reason had he for doing so now? Semple splashed cologne on his palm and anointed his cheeks. McBlain's armor clanked when he shifted on his seat. The bodyguard had come to Lady Alice's quarters to report the latest intelligence concerning the dragon. Milady, no two descriptions of the creature are alike. The beast assumes a different size, shape, and color in every instance. So the eyewitness accounts are mere fantasies? No, ma'am. Your husband's wounds were quite real. Still, I am reticent to declare that these sightings are of a dragon. Alice paced the flagstones. Very well, McBlain. I want you to review the castle's defenses and take stock of our yeoman's readiness to repel an enemy. The knight stood. With a stiff bow, he took his leave. Standing before a block of modern row houses, Semple straightened his jacket and pressed the bell. The fact that the address was in the smarter section of town surprised him. Tacy Bronwell's knee-length scarlet dress complemented her eyes. Her wavy hair was drawn back, displaying copper earrings shaped like seashells. Come through, Mr. Semple. The room into which Semple stepped reflected its owner's good taste. The furnishings were simple, but not plain. Care had been taken to coordinate the furniture with the large tapestry and famed prints adorning the walls. Do you approve? Forgive me, Miss Bronwell, I didn't mean to stare. I shall scream if you don't start calling me Tacy. What is your Christian name? It is Peter, Tacy. Everything is ready, Peter, so why don't we eat? Bangers and mash aren't on the menu. The meal wound its pleasant way through the starters, goat's cheese, red onion, and tomato tarts, soup, leek and potato, an entree, prime roast beef with onion gravy and Yorkshire pudding. He was glad to take seconds of the solid, tasty fare. Semple settled onto the rose-colored divan to await the coffee and lemon tart. Tacy sat close beside him. Something's on your mind, Peter. Do you care to illuminate me? Foolish though Semple felt, he laid out the history of unusual behavior and events that had marked Miss E.B.'s tenure as his housekeeper. The only tidbit he held back was how she added to his manuscript. When Semple rose to leave, his hostess rested a hand on his knee. If the young woman is so odd, why not just sack her? It sounds mad, but... Semple leaned forward, clasping his hands. Every time I make up my mind to cut Miss E.B. loose, the words stick in my gullet, and my insides turn to water. It's as though she holds a power over me. On the front step, Tacy tried to lighten the atmosphere. I'd like to meet this loony. To be continued.